On the line with us, I am pleased and honored to have Karen Williams Weaver, the mayor of Flint, Michigan, also a clinical psychologist and a small business owner. The website's cityofflint.com, and you can tweet her at Karen About, ABOUT Flint. Mayor Weaver, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I'm very pleased to have you with us. So yesterday, Mr. Trump came to Flint, and we're hearing conflicting stories, about what happened, and in the church in particular, but in Flint in general. I'm curious, as the mayor of the city, what happened?
Well, first of all, I was not in Flint yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in Washington, D.C., talking with people because the Senate is so close to, and I think today they will be passing the bill for some relief for the city of Flint. So I'm in Washington, D.C., because actually I didn't know he was coming until the day before. That's when we got all of this information.
Uh-huh.
And so I know he was not very well received in our hometown. That's the bottom line. But it was interesting to me because I watched what happened on television with the pastor, and I saw some of the remarks that Donald Trump made about her being a nervous wreck or a nervous mess. And I thought, wow, that's very interesting to me. She didn't appear nervous when she got up there and asked you not to do a political speech, and she also didn't appear nervous to me when she asked the crowd to stop heckling him. Right. So, you can't have it both ways now.
Yeah, well, he apparently can, and apparently the media doesn't call him out on it. I mean, this is.
Well, I'm going to call that one out.
Yeah, it's just a mind-boggling thing. It really and truly is. I'm increasingly convinced that the media wants a Trump presidency because it'll make for more profits for the media for the next 4 years because they'll get more eyeballs. But God only knows. What is the state of affairs with regard to the water supply in Flint, Michigan? I know in Lansing, they came up with a apparently fairly innovative way of pulling copper pipe through the inside of the old lead pipe and fixing much of the lead problem they had in Lansing. Has that technology been made available to you in Flint? Is it a problem with state funding? What's going on? Where are you at?
You're absolutely right. We're still at a point where we cannot drink water out of our taps. We continue to be on bottled and filtered water. The water is being treated, but it is not at a point where the water is safe. But it's interesting that you brought up Lansing, because that is exactly who we were in contact with about the process they were using to remove the lead service lines. Great. And we are using the technology that they use down in Lansing to do exactly that. We're into our third week of the second phase of the Fast Start program. So lead service lines are being replaced as we speak.
Oh, that is great. I grew up in Lansing, so I'm very familiar with this situation, or at least, with the area. And I've been following, what Mayor Verge Bonero, I want to say.
And that was who was in contact with me, and he's been very helpful and supportive.
Yeah. Okay. So people who want to support the city of Flint, I know that there are many levels of need in Flint. The water is an obvious part of it. The destruction essentially of the Flint economy, and not just Flint, many cities around America by some of our. It sounds like Donald Trump to say by some of our trade policies. Although Hillary Clinton is opposed to the TPP as well. But in any case, what can people do to help out Flint and inform themselves?
You brought up a good point, because one of the things we've talked about throughout this water crisis is, while we know we have the need for new infrastructure, economic development is such a vital part to the recovery of the city of Flint. So I'm glad you did mention that, because that's something else that we are focused on. And, people have asked, do we still need water? Do we still need filters? It's sad that we have to say yes to those things. They've continued to send things like, other kinds of toiletry items, whether they've been wipes, hand sanitizer, dry shampoo, those kinds of things. People have sent donations. We've asked people to help us keep this story out, continue talking about it, because we know that Flint represents more than just the city of Flint. It represents cities all across this country that have aging infrastructures, that need to look at the water quality standards. And what's so unique about Flint and Michigan is we also have the emergency manager law, and that was something that really got us into this mess because it took our voice and our democracy away.
Right. So I understand that Rick Snyder threw a couple of people under the bus on the Flint water crisis, but that he is not taking responsibility for this. Am I appropriately characterizing this? What sort of response are you getting from the state government?
Well, that's really interesting because we've been asking for people to be held accountable. We've always wanted anybody and everybody that is responsible in this situation to be held accountable. But one of the things we have noticed is that it has been low-level people that have been, thrown under the bus, as you say. So we are looking for more of that to happen. As far as what we've gotten from the state, no, it has not been enough because, that was how we got into this mess. And even to just get started with the lead service line replacement for high-priority homes is going to cost us between about $60 to $70 million. And thus far, for lead service line replacement, we've gotten $27 million.
Wow. And is that money available?
It's available, and that's how we're moving forward. And that's why what's going on down here in D.C. with the Senate has been so important, because that will be $100 million for infrastructure.
Right.
It's not enough, but it's such a good start for us. So we're really hoping that next week this needs to go through the House now.
Right. And that's going to be an interesting challenge, particularly given the
interesting challenge. You're right.
Particularly given the Koch caucus. I call it the Koch caucus. They call it the Freedom Caucus, but it's these crazy right wingers who don't think that the government should ever pay for anything.
Exactly.
Just total crazy libertarians or something like that. Anyhow, Karen Williams Weaver, the mayor of Flint, Michigan, also a clinical psychologist and small business owner. Someday I'd like to talk with you about the psychology of the politics in Michigan. I'm sorry we're out of time now, but cityofflint.com, of course, is the website. You can tweet her at KarenAboutFlint. And Mayor Weaver, thank you so much for being with us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's great talking with you. We'll be back.